Nous avons participé à la Semaine mondiale des réfugiés à Berlin et nous sommes très heureux de ça. Ça a été très important pour nous de participer à ce projet avec les jeunes de l'association Virvolt. Et ce projet de pouvoir participer à créer des thématiques autour de la migration internationale a été très important pour nous. Dans le cadre de ce projet, on a rencontré des groupes qui venaient d'ailleurs, de Croatie, de Serbie, des Allemands.
I wanted to create something for this project of No Borders that will make the public feel the same nuisance that I did by having to traverse this this small airport terminal, so that they could then enter in this exhibitional space.
This one, which are cutouts of people, specifically people as perceived by border control or customs officials. Here to the right, we have a person who is unwanted. In this case, in this context specifically, it's a refugee, but it symbolizes, in a broader context, a non-European citizen or the majority of the world. The perfect home space, the perfect living space for a refugee. He's invited to stay here for as long as he wants, as long as he's willing to pay. This card is for sale, since home is where the heart is. But in this case, home is where the cart is. It's anywhere, and it's not very lovely.
Me being from Kosovo, Kosovar, that escaped in 1999 when the bombing started, we had a very nomadic life. We traveled a lot from Montenegro to Sokobanja to south of Serbia, and finally we landed up in Novi Sad. So this is like something very personal to me, and in that way, when I heard about the project, I was like, okay, I can connect with this. I can link with this, with my own personal experience, and that's also what I try to emulate through my work.
Nous avons créé avec les jeunes de l'association Virvolt une carte du monde qui est abstraite, qui n'est pas une carte qui représente des frontières comme on peut les connaître dans nos livres géographiques de l'école. Là, on peut voir qu'il y a l'Afrique, l'Europe, l'Amérique à côté. Et en fait, l'idée, c'est qu'on puisse avoir un autre regard sur le monde et pas celui que l'on connaît à travers la cartographie. L'idée, c'est que l'on a matérialisé sur cette carte des frontières militaires qui sont existantes aujourd'hui en 2024. Et il y en a beaucoup dans le monde des frontières militaires qui sont existantes en 2024. La thématique, c'est de dire qu'il n'y a pas de frontières. Et on a demandé aux participants de la Semaine mondiale des réfugiés de pouvoir mettre des mots, des émotions qu'ils avaient quand ils regardaient cette carte par-dessus les frontières. Et l'idée de cette carte, c'est que chacun puisse l'alimenter. C'est une carte interactive. Et on a mis des photos tout autour de plusieurs cultures du monde pour dire que les cultures nous rassemblent, les frontières nous divisent et que les cultures sont plus importantes que la frontière qui est finalement invisible à l'œil nu et que c'est une histoire de cartographie et évidemment de politique. Et nous l'avons traduit en plusieurs langues. Et donc l'idée de ce projet, c'est Culture Without Border, la culture sans frontières.
Digitale population, digitale fascination, digitale generation.
So mostly it was community building that is happening all around, and what that community building can actually produce. As we had the opportunity to see a few days ago, an exhibition from the other collective that was here, we saw how their hard work, how their very plentiful cooperation gave birth to something so beautiful that was their exhibition.
Where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? Where are you?
This moment is really us opening the conversation up to other people to really extend this community.
So we put a lot of work together in the past few months, and finally we see the results, and that's the best part.
Being able to create new methodologies of understanding and
building a new future together.
Exactly.
A lot of things that people talk about you can relate to, and you say, oh shit, this is not just my experience. Like, somebody somewhere miles away is going through the same thing, and that was like a very beautiful moment to be like vulnerable with each other.
Context of this project, it's a 4-month collaboration between 19 artists from 12 different countries, and it started online with weekly meetings where we discussed theoretical topics around how to change our relationships with one another and the modern humans, so like the trees, the nature, to try to create more sustainable relationships based also on recognizing that we are all interconnected and we have very much many similarities despite coming from different places. And it's also about the cycle of learning and unlearning, because water, it's so strong. It can be one drop, but if it always falls on metal, for instance, it will create a hole at some point. So it's like this kind of force that's very consistent, but also very flexible. If you have like stones or obstacles, it will always find its way to go. This shape is also to be found in many installations. The idea of the fractal. When you want to create change on a large scale, how you can start with the smallest action. So for instance, if you want to bring more generosity or more connection in the world, you should start with yourself, with your neighbor, with your plants in your room, and like all these small steps.
And then we understood that this would be the central piece, also in the sense of the roots. If we are on the land, these are the roots that is coming from, upside down. We had a moment that we walked through Berlin looking for the elections posters and understanding how the many symbols like freedom or education, or it's really taking over, it's being taken over. If I wouldn't know, and I'm Brazilian, I have no idea about the parties and the political division, the names, and whatever poster I would look, for me it would make sense. I would vote for them because it's freedom, education, power to people.
Security, it's very like empty slogans. We know like the politics. So
very catchy and like,
It was interesting to walk with her because she was making us looking at all these posters, and then she was like, okay, what would you like your slogans to be? What intentions would you like if you could to bring in this political landscape? And then we started thinking about, okay, everyone has their own intention that they would like to bring out, and we materialized them in clay. So
this world that really it's so oppressive and so, on fire and a lot of blood around, to be happy and to have fun and to connect in this other layer is an act of resistance. So this shaking part for us is really related about the understanding that everything is moving, everything moves, also the soil, and to shake it, to shake the structures that we don't want to see stable anymore.
Artists and spirits within Common Grounds in their Underlands exhibit as part of Berlin Refugee Week. I think right now with a lot of dehumanizing language around some of our human neighbors that are migrating and moving into different places, it's very important to use the arts to really reclaim and create a shared narrative around belonging, and really just break down, like, why do we think some people belong and some people do not?
I wanted to do something that actually incorporates my current interests, which are text-based works dealing with the topics of migration, communication, maintenance of the relationship between place that is current home and place that was always considered as home but remains as a faraway home where family and friends are living.
The last words my cousin texted me, what's up in your life? I wanted to scream back to all of them, do not worry, I'm really happy.
The last words my friend told me were, take care of yourself, come back soon.
The last words my mom told me were, you can't escape yourself.
How to find, certain moments and spaces of hope from the past and present and amplify them. So it's like for a lot of artists, curators, theorists, activists, this is part of the work to reconnect communities that have been so fragmented. So that was also beautiful in today's presentation of some refugees networks that were talking about, we are not doing just this solidarity for Ukrainians or for Iranians, or it's like we're trying to build these communities together, to cook together, to, share different models of life.
I think the work is based on like a very simple principle, and that is that you don't let people to drown. And I think that's like something very basic that probably each person of us should have in us. Especially 2023 has been a very deadly year, and more than 3,000 people drowned in the central Mediterranean alone, which makes it the most deadliest year since 2017. There is a lot of migration, even though it's not as prominent in the news anymore, but there is a humanitarian crisis, and there will continue to be a humanitarian crisis, and I think it's very important that people like you, the Refugee Week in Berlin, make aware of the issue of migration, because there was always migration, there is migration, and there will always be migration.
Wir sind